Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to go over our daily technical analysis update of uranium. Uranium looking kind of flat. Some of the companies were down, up, kind of a mixed bag. We'll go over it. We'll touch on the physical, Sprott, Physical Uranium Trust, URNM, and go through the companies. Again, this is just my financial opinion. Please don't use it as advice. And let's let the charts do the talking here. So let's dive in. And this is on a daily candlestick basis here. This is the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. We've got the pattern. We are right at the tip, playing the game of just the tip. We're right there trying to break out. We sold off today. I should say we opened lower and we got purchased back up to a slightly positive day right on the trend line. And I think this plays a large role of which direction we're going to go, is where SPUT moves this. If we move to the upside, I think it will carry the whole sector with it. If we break down here and go lower, I think the entire sector will go lower. It's nothing really profound to say that, but I mean, that's where we're at. URNM had a little bit of a sell-off today. I redrew a lot of the lines today. And what we're looking at is a support line coming through here, hitting these 3 points, and we're basically at that support line at about 70 bucks. And we're right there. So let's hope this support holds. Otherwise, we're going to come back down to this support line, which is at 62 or $3. And that very well could be a possibility, because if you look at this chart here, bearish engulfing, and we have another bearish engulfing aligning on a weekly candlestick basis where we could head lower. But it depends on tomorrow and what happens tomorrow and what this candlestick does. So we'll see what happens. But today with the sell-off, it's starting to line up as a bearish engulfing pattern, which potentially could head lower. And on the dailies, this is what it looks like on the dailies. We had it's strong selling pressure the past 3 trading days. So it looked like we were ready to roll. This is a very nice bounce. And then the sellers showed up, stomped on that buying party. Looking at Bannerman, a little bit of a sell-off today, 2.5%, but still it's just bouncing sideways. Goviak selling off 6.8%. We're kind of coming back to support down here. Really, I mean, we're just basically developing this large kind of flag pattern that's going on. We've got nice support underneath it at about 26 cents. Global Atomic, looking at this guy, coming on up. We've been bouncing on support underneath this here, and we've just been bouncing sideways, waiting for uranium to start moving up. Forces Metals getting a little bit of a update today, kind of a bullish piercing pattern maybe. This thing's been really volatile, back and forth between 90 cents and about 57, 60 cents. And the lows have been creeping higher and higher, so hopefully that can continue to happen, where these lows continue to be higher and it creeps on up. Pure Point, a little bit of a selling pressure today. Again, I think this is a low-risk area to be buying in this area over here. We're at support right now, and hopefully that support holds. Let me hit the 5-year here and get a little bit more candlesticks. And when I talk about this, basically it's what I mean by support. It's this support area all through here that we've got that has hit multiple times, and hopefully it holds. If it doesn't hold, we might come back and pull back a little bit more than where we're at. It's a possibility. Deep yellow, I just threw in this trend line going up, and we're in that trend line, or channel, I should say. We're in that channel. Paladin Energy, again, we're trying to break out here, this big old pattern, and we're just sitting there right now, trying our best. We're bouncing back and forth between this support line and this resistance line. No change there. Sky Harbor, we're back inside this pattern, and what I drew was this kind of trend line coming on up, and we're bouncing right between this resistance line and trend line, and we're bouncing right in between them. Next Gen Energy, I redrew this as well. I drew a contact point here, and we're hitting this line here. We break to the downside here, we could see a move lower. If we break to the downside, it's a possibility, guys. So I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to sell my shares, but if it comes on down, I would be a buyer here for sure. Canalaska, this one doesn't look as good. I drew a trend line through all these contact points, and we broke to the downside, and we've got this bearish weekly engulfing pattern, which could mean more downside. And we're starting to see some more selling pressure come in. If it's going to do something, it better turn and do it now. But we do have some support underneath it. Going across, if we were to draw a line kind of this way through it, we've got support underneath it there. So it's not all said and done. We've got support. But if we break this support down at 34 cents and we bust through it and have a strong closing, it's possible that we stay in a downtrend. Baseload energy. We got this little pattern developing here. And that's where we're at. We're at the bottom of the pattern. Hopefully it can hold. Vision 3.0, the pattern I've got is a support line here, a resistance line there. We kind of broke above that. We're right above on top of that support resistance line. And that's what this guy looks like on a big long-term perspective. I like this one for a long-term hold. Now, Fission, we've got this ascending wedge pattern, guys. If we break to the downside, we could see some of these companies pull back. And we're playing with this support line. We're breaking to the downside, and this next channel line, which isn't nearly as strong, could break where we head lower. So it's a possibility. CCJ moving on up, a little bit of a sell-off today. We are broken out of this squeezy pattern to the downside, and that's kind of where we're at. Kazatomprom, we've got kind of support resistance through there. You can kind of draw it through here too, but there's some all underneath this, a bunch of support, so we'll see where it goes. Trying to get these out of here at the moment. Peninsula Energy, we're still in this pattern there. We're just moving sideways. I don't see anything too much to talk about. We've just been kind of going. Got some good buying pressure down here. Hopefully that can hold. Boss Energy, we're basically moving sideways in this channel here. And that's kind of what we've just been bouncing back and forth. Lotus Resources, we're in this big flag pattern that I drew today. We're bouncing back and forth in the flag pattern, which is a bullish formation to potentially move up eventually. UROI could be developing a similar pattern here. You can kind of draw this through here. Just draw. Come on, grab it. There we go. Somewhere in there, we're right at that support. Let's hope that this support can hold. Encore Energy, I redrew this. We've got good support through here. Hit it multiple times. It's hanging on by tooth floss at this point. So we better hope that that tooth floss can hold. Otherwise, we could see a move lower. That's what it looks like on the bigger picture view. You are stuck in the channel is where we are at. Coming up here, we came back. Shoulder, head, shoulder, perhaps. I don't know. We'll see. With maybe the neckline being there. So we got this kind of shoulder, head, shoulder, and maybe we'll come back to the bottom of the channel. It's a possibility. But that's where we're at with URG. I drew this in here with all these contact points, kind of a slight megaphone type pattern. We're getting towards the bottom of this pattern. Maybe we get down to $110 or so. We do have some good strong selling pressure these past couple of days with weak buying pressure. UEC, looking at the pattern, we're in this big old pattern here. If we zoom into it, we got some strong selling pressure the past few days. We might come back to the bottom of the pattern. LEU, and what I drew here, if we don't hold here, guys, we could come back and sell off more with this shoulder, head, shoulder that is that is still a possibility. I'll kind of delete this out there, and this is the neckline. So that is a possibility. I'll draw it in there just to show you guys. And there's your neckline going across. So it's a possibility that this could go down still. And we would come here, pause, and then maybe come all the way back down. I don't know. We'll have to see. LTBR chopping sideways at the moment. We had a kind of a shoulder head, little shoulder there. Came up, came down, completed the move, I think. I mean, this could be a shoulder, head, shoulder, perhaps. I don't know. We'll see. That looks really weird. I'm going to take that off, guys. But we'll see. It looks like it's doing okay at the moment. ISO Energy holding on inside of its pattern. Not really much to say there. Appia Energy, more of a rare earth metal uranium company. I just took all this stuff out. This is a monthly candlestick. We do have some strong monthly sell-offs here, and we're trying to find a support area. This could head lower. We could do even a retest all the way back to 25 cents. If that's the case, I'm going to buy the heck out of it. And then we're going to see hopefully a big move from there. Denison Mines moving on up in this channel pattern. Go to a 1 year. We're kind of at the bottom of the channel at the moment. Blue Sky Uranium's got this ascending wedge pattern. I'm looking to see what it does. Not that I'm going to do anything, but it's right at the bottom of that wedge. Form Energy Metals looks like it's trying to sell off a little bit. That's right at its support line. There's the support line going across. And we'll see if we break down. Our next support would be at 6 cents. Cut in half again if it goes down a lot. AEC, Anfield, big picture view, lower lows. And then we've got, if this holds, a higher low if we can break above the trend line. We're right there kind of going between this support line and the resistance line. Laramide selling off a little bit today. We are playing with its ascending wedge pattern. And there's a possibility here that we break to the downside and come back lower. It's possible. Let's watch it. Western Uranium kind of breaking out to the downside here. That's not looking favorable. On a monthly candlestick, though, we do have a little bit of hope if we can push this up a little bit tomorrow. If we come on up, but doesn't look too hot. And UEXCF selling off today out of this little consolidation pattern to the downside. We might see some more downside momentum here. On a weekly candlestick, it's a bearish engulfing, which we could head lower and come back below this resistance line. Come back. So that's what I've got for today in the uranium sector. Does not look that strong to me. Highly depends on what the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust does. But overall, guys, doesn't look that great. Looks like we could head lower in the short term. It highly depends on if these patterns hold. So, you know, if you're interested in getting these updates, subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up for the content. And we're going to monitor and watch this and see what happens over time. Am I selling my shares? No, I'm not doing anything, guys. The ratios are hugely a buy for uranium. It's incredibly cheap in relationship to gold. We're going into an expansionary phase. Uranium usually does very well some years into the expansionary phase. That's what it was last time. That's what it was before. So I don't see why it would necessarily be different. We're just early to this game. And we could still see pullbacks. They're going to be buying opportunities, in my opinion, and then we're going to ride them higher. So I'm playing this game over the next bull market that's coming. So the bull market's still ahead of us. We could see short-term fluctuations in the prices. I'm a buyer if we pull back on some of these companies, develop a base, and I'll be cost averaging in when that time comes. If it were to pull back, and I don't know if it's going to pull back. And keep in mind, you know, just kind of doing one overall sector here. I'll just go to Bannerman just because I know that one's one that I really like. On the big long-term perspective, it's a downward move, a sideways move, and then an up move. But the up move doesn't mean you just go straight up. What we could do, looking at this, is we kind of come up, come back, come up, come back. And we could even pull back down here as we go. It's a possibility. And if we get a move like that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a bunch more. So that's my my strategy there. So we're in a bull market, but it's possible that we pull back and have these larger pullbacks within it. All right, guys, that's what I've got for today. Thanks for listening, and see you next time. This is Finding Value.